That's right, folks. It's another late night and time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight we're pulling out Watching You, Episode 7, Season Finale. That's right,
Yes,
folks.
yes.
We've reached the end. How you feeling about it, Tiki?
Dragon, I am really excited about watching you. Unfortunately, it's kind of a shame where it's like I really, really want more of it because, of course, as we've chronicled through the 7 episodes so far, kind of the backstory of the show, like this whole hour and some change long season was meant to be the pilot for a 7 episode season, like a 7 episode full season of hour long 45-minute episodes or so. Only this got made and it was broken up into chunks, and that's kind of the legacy we have for watching you. But Dragon, my God, I feel like this first episode was like it wasn't just a good season. Like storytelling wise for a web series, yeah, I would say it's a successful season of a web series. I think they cut it up just right. I think it was very well paced. I think all the characters got a good amount of screen time. Um, my whole thing though, Dragon, is this is an excellent pilot, especially given the ending pieces kind of tying it all together.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it feels like? It feels like, of course, again, as we've been saying with watching you, want to, of course, with the just everyone bear in mind that we had to confirm that watching you, the 7 episodes you find on the Just Giggle It channel are, of course, the broken up pilots. It's intended to air all together, like all in one. That's why if anyone had watched the awesome thing that Just Giggle It did recently, where they kind of aired the finale and had like the extended bloopers and everything going through the end, that's from the premiere. So they premiered it all in one, as they had like a really nice premiere in San Antonio. This is during the Frozen Fire production years. Before Just Giggle It, which is basically Joshua Thomas's formative years after Erasaway, which hopefully people saw when it was around, and essentially went from doing kind of a very kind of self-reflective drama, dramatic kind of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind type movie. Again, before he saw that movie, by the way, so it's a little fun fact. And he kind of tried his hand at comedy for a pilot and kind of seeing where it went. And again, just kind of got uploaded in 7 little kind of tantalizing chunks. And interestingly, what it feels like retroactively is it feels like it's a season that it feels like a season of a web series. I think you had the perfect analogy, and hence the whole like watching you with the web series. It feels like a first season if you know you're coming back for another one, which unfortunately was not a certainty with this, which hopefully can be corrected at some point in the future, just given kind of the track record and success of the many videos and kind of fan support of Just Giggle as a whole. So hopefully one of these days we'll see more watching you, because I think there's definitely an audience for it. And again, even as just like kind of installments of a web series, I think it shows a tremendous promise of like, yeah, we gotta get more. Let's see what happens next, because it's like a really ambitious idea, of like, hey, I promise there's going to be more here, but we really took our time really developing the first season. If you look at it that way, again, it's completely coincidence that ends up that way, but it's quite fascinating when you really think about it. That it just kind of still works on both ways.
Hmm.
Yeah. By the way, just a few.
Take some credit here. I got to take some credit.
All right.
So early on, I think about episode 3 or 4 when we were doing predictions. I called that basically. I thought that the whole season would end with essentially what would be the thesis statement, kind of tying together all the mysteries of the first season of the show, kind of being like, kind of laying out like, all right, this is what's going on, and let's see where we go from here. Dragon, I was 100% right.
Yeah, that's very.
Like pretty much to a T. Gotta pat myself on the back for that one. All right.
I called a few minor things, and we'll get to it when we get to it. Mainly towards the end, I kind of called like you and I. We were. I finally found out I had a great reveal during this. I had just kind of a fun kind of confluence of events that have happened recently with kind of the stuff that we've covered in Christmas in July. Kind of set me on a path and made kind of this kind of funny little discovery. But I got to tell you, the stars have kind of coalesced with watching you a lot here, because in our covering it, we've seen some impressive things happen with watching you lately. Of course, the great Kelsey Prabilski. She was She had done a live interview with Joshua Thomas recently, and got a lot of interesting kind of watching you tidbits information through the course of that. And of course, Xerxes made a return in kind of this little bonus installment from watching you, kind of the best acting class ever. So it's just amazing the traction that watching you has attained. You know.
I think part of that is the fact that people are discovering it as from the creator of Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. Like that's definitely a good selling point.
Sure. And speaking of which, Tiki,
Oh
speaking
yes,
of
yes. All right, folks. So I'm sure that most of you watching live know about Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world. I don't have to bore you with the details. Suffice to say, if you've not heard of the show, basically the elevator pitch for it is it's just a really, really well done fan interpretation of all the many different incarnations of the Joker rolled up into one performance. One performance from the great Joshua Thomas. And Joshua Thomas is joined by Harley Quinn, played by a couple actresses over the course of the series. And essentially, as Shenanigans as the dynamic, fearsome duo move from Gotham City to set up roots somewhere else. In LA, of all places.
Oh boy, shenanigans.
So, folks, I've got the link to episode 5 in the description. We need to get the views on episode 5 up to 1 million. If we do that, we get episode 6. And episode 6 looks to be big. They've even started planning episode 7. So we're very much in the pipeline of, getting new Harley and Joker stuff. We just have to be patient. We just have to be persistent about keeping on watching it. So, yeah, folks. All right.
Just watch episode 5, folks. And a few quick little shout outs here to the fine folks in the comments sections to say hi, we love you, and keep on kind of geeking out about watching you as we do. We got Luis Brooks, 1920. We got Demona B. And we have, of course, we're bound to have even more fine folks there. And of course, I just want to echo something Luis Brooks said. So yes, Raceway was awesome. Absolutely, it was. And of course, Luis Brooks has finally finished the show. Of course, just kind of airing kind of 24/7, almost like a Christmas story marathon, if you will. And I mean that in the best of ways. Luis Brooks says, she definitely wants more, and of course, I can't fault her. So
yeah, we'll talk about that as we go through the episode because I don't want to say this episode ends on a cliffhanger, but it certainly ends on kind of like a mission statement.
Certainly, we didn't get all the answers, but we got like a substantial amount of answers we all have to talk about. So I guess with that said, folks, we're just going to dive into. We're going to recap, hopefully, what you just saw. So
the thing that we have going on now or later, Dragon.
I'm sorry.
The bonus thing we have going on tonight. Do you want to tease that out or?
Yeah, sure, folks. After we get through watching you, we have yet another installment of the Just Giggle It Grab Bag. We're going to be kicking off Season 3. Season 3, of course, is the full fan request season. And the full fan request season means you guys, anyone watching this, any Just Giggle It fans, basically you guys in the comments or the community page, Just Giggle or one of the past videos that we've done, we're going to comb through them. And basically you request an episode, like any video, any sketch, any parody from Just Giggle It. And we will recap it, and we'll shout, yeah, we'll give you credits, we'll link you and everything. We'll sing your praises. We'll in our minds, we'll build you monuments. We'll roll out the red carpet for you and thank you profusely. You guys dictate how long the season is. Last I checked, we're up to 7, I believe 6 or 7. I think it's it might have grown to 7 since I last checked, but it's we have 6 recommendations so far, and again that can grow and get to 10, get to more, who knows, and yeah, again, folks, just anything you want us to talk about, we'll do it and we'll shout you out, no problem. Season 3 is all you guys. Hello, Kaylin Scott. Okay, that said, I guess let's get started.
All right, so Taylor quickly awakens, and we get the theme song really quickly. We get the Watching You title sequence, very, very well timed right there.
Yes, and this impressively, I had a trippy experience watching the beginning of episode 7 here because we have the full link up here, so they're going full circle, and that's kind of where episode 6 ended, which I kind of called that we were going to start the link up in episode 6, and we did. where Taylor's suddenly waking up, of course, going full circle, kind of Nolan, kind of Dunkirk style, kind of going all the way back to the beginning. Or I guess more Inception stuff. I want to split hairs on it, but Dunkirk's mastery of editing. But anyway, point is, we link up with Taylor waking up in the bed. Basically, our big hook from the first episode of these two crazy characters together. And then we backtrack and find out what led them to meet each other at that moment. We're now at the moment where they have met each other. So Taylor, he's waking up, and this is amazing here. This is a fun thing. I painstakingly went through this and did a side by side this to note the differences here. We see the same scene play out from episode 1, but a few very minor differences.
Really isn't the end of Back to the Future Part 2, beginning of Back to the Future Part 3 type situation.
Very much so, actually. Yes. So it starts off again, folks. We won't bore you with everything. There's one you kind of again. This is way back from episode 1, but we're going to cover the main differences here. So it starts out beat by beat. The whole no banging, that great scene. So basically,
you really like that line.
I do. It's hilarious, and I love how it comes back here. It's just for Bilski, she just nails that line. So I'm fascinated that we learned that it was not an improv. It was in the script, but my God, she brought that to life, and like the body language and everything, and then how it comes back later on. It cracks me up. Anyway, so let's see. So here's what's crazy about this. So. I would summarize, and I could be entirely wrong about this, and I'm sure the folks at JustGiggleIt could correct me on this. But from what my opinion is that the footage they're using the same thing they shot, but they used it. So let me try to phrase this right here. So there was a full version of this shot, I believe. I believe there's a full version of that bedroom scene shot. And what they did is in the first episode, they chopped out 2 sections of it, and we're seeing the completed version here. Do you follow me?
I follow you. Yeah.
And there's that and one other difference, and I could be crazy on the second point here, but it looks like to me there's like a different filter on it. It looks brighter than it was in the first pass, because it looks like it's the same lighting, and that's how you can tell. Like these little things, you can tell it's the same footage, because I can go in frame by frame, unless nothing against Johnny Walter or Kelsey Berbilski here, but I mean saying the every acting beat is precisely the same acting beat, so it unequivocally has to be the same footage.
Mm-hmm.
And look, and it's like the same lighting patterns, only it's a little brighter. It's not as kind of like piercingly, like kind of magic hour, but you can still see the magic hour lighting outside, kind of the early morning light. I should say, not magic hour. You know what I mean? It's kind of that tan lighting. I don't know. So we have our link up here, and of course, then the footage that we do have that's different is we have instead of that one cryptic, like Taylor getting about to be hit by the car, we have this crossover point. We're basically earlier, and I believe episode. God, I think it's 3.
Yeah.
Tiki, you there?
Yeah.
You're a little low, T. I can hear you. So you're a little low.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Just keep going.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so what happens is the big crossover point from episode 3, where basically she's pulling out, and we kind of tease Taylor's Phalo getting hit by the car. Like, watch out, you're crazy, calling her bad names and such. And I tell you, the one gripe I have with this, so again, I love that we use that little crossover point, because that's fun, that's delightful. My one issue with it, however, as good as it is, I'm not faulting it too much, is that for continuity's sake, I think they should have left those bits out. I think they should have. I think we just should we had this dialogue in this footage that was not in the first episode, and I know
is that they should have left out the stuff that was in the first episode and only explored the new stuff.
Well, no. What I'm saying is they should have did what the first episode did, because I mean we know the information, but unfortunately, it makes there's something off with the first episode. Now, when you go back to it, it's like now we're missing these chunks.
Dragon, I have no basis for this, but I have to wonder if it was a kind of a later call in the editing bay to include the first episode to structure it like it was.
I mean, I mean,
I don't know, like maybe, maybe when it sunk in that they weren't gonna be doing more episodes anytime soon. you
Well,
know,
again,
maybe
TV, this is
they
all...
and the transition point to you know, from watching you the pilot to watching you the web series. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm thinking somewhere along the way during that transition to watching you the web series, that's when that editing came into view. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that.
Well, that's the thing, because we're not 100% sure like when it dawned on Joshua Thomas to break it up into the web series versus kind of sticking to it as the whole pilot. Because again, we're not entirely sure like why. I've always assumed it was like YouTube constraints, like timing constraints, why it was broken up into several pieces instead of aired as like one pilot. But I think my logic is that Joshua Thomas had the whole erase away thing, where he figured if people are gonna sit through like an hour and a half movie, are they going to sit through like kind of an hour and change pilots? That sort of logic is probably why he did that. Be my guess, but yes, but I mean, you see what I'm saying though? It's like that because now it's like you could line these up amazingly side by side. It's the same footage, you have like very slight difference. But now you look at it and it's like, well, I understand exactly why he made the choice because we want to see the character progression, we want that crossover, and we want to see that, and we understand that. So it does feel like a series choice over like a singular episode choice, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of where we're at on it. It's like it's a nitpick. It's like a little gripe, but again, still it's good footage, and it's about character over continuity. And it's more for continuity, but I understand the choice absolutely. So let's see. Okay, that's we brought in the footage. All right. So then we get this line here. So we had that little flashback that was at. Then we have her like you called me crazy B one more time, and I finish you with my car, which is a great line. But of course, not knowing Jessica the way we know her, that line maybe doesn't have the heft that it does if we have it in the first episode. So we took it out of there. But now again, it's like another incongruous little element.
Like given what this girl's gone through, and not to mention given the fact that of course Taylor, ironically enough, was done in by a car, kind of adds a lot of extra weight to that.
Right. Oh, by the way, just a real quick, Demona B, I absolutely see your point. Like, how often do you watch stuff to even start to see a difference in the lighting? I mean, yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying because again, it was like if you're coming across something that remarkable is like a link up. Like I'm talking like Tiki and Eric kind of used to saying like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. You watch Better Call Saul like episodes 1 and 2. And episode 1 has like has an ending, and episode 2 you see the other side of it from the other end, and maybe a part of you is curious and saying how exactly it links up. So, as like a passerby, like wondering, oh man, I wonder how it links up. I mean, that's what I after that, you know.
Uh-huh.
I absolutely see your point. Like if you're just kind of casually watching this, it's going to make no difference. Like it's good storytelling, you know. Okay. Right. Okay. So then, basically, the scene kind of unfolds from that point. Kind of the way it unfolds. You know, we have. I mean, that line does give Jessica grit, though. Like, I'll finish you with my car. Taylor finds that he can't leave. He can't leave Jessica's side. And of course, we get a reason for that by the very end. We get some great physical acting by Johnny Walter. Of course.
Really good physical timing right now.
Leads to the mime joke, which I love the mime. The mime joke still cracks me up though. It's the delivery and Johnny Walker's facial reactions cracks me up. He's on the floor. It's like, "Are you a mime?" She just says with the straightest delivery ever. It was like again that childlike wonder that the Jessica character has. Like, "Are you a mime?" He says, "Did you just ask me if I'm a mime?" "No, I'm not a mime." Oh God! So and no, what's so fascinating about this, and the reason we kind of break down all semantics here with kind of the editing is that amazingly in 3 minutes we come full circle. Like after 3 minutes, we go to the knock, the big knock that we base the whole series off. Like what happens to that knock, and now it's sort of like I'll give you an example. It's relevant to me. You're like in Deadpool. I love the structure of Deadpool. It's sort of like the whole. Now you're all caught up. Like basically going to the flashbacks to understand Deadpool's origin while we still get Deadpool in a way. It's kind of like a move like that almost.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure I can think of a million more examples, but Deadpool is a good one.
I'm saying it's a current one, It's
of course Deadpool also kind of like it's kind of like a deconstruction of that whole thing as well.
Exactly. So it's figured. Anyway, so basically we the whole series, like episode 1, like we heard that knock at the door. We didn't know who was on the other side of the door, and then we went in the flashback for the majority of the episodes, and then coming full circle here, and now we know who's on the other side of the door. It's Zoe.
Zoe.
Yes, it's Zoe. So, So finally, our two leads have been reunited, and we have this. I just love the great logic that we have here of using Zoe as a connecting point, someone who's met both of these characters as a character to kind of enter the scene here. And now it does lead to some speculation. Again, this is something I'd love to see explored if we ever get more watching you. What exactly the relationship is between Zoe and Jessica? Because I mean, I get it. I assumed there was like an advantageous friendship on Zoe's half of things, that she pitied Jessica to bolster her own self confidence, but on some level, I think both characters kind of want to be a little bit like the other. She wants the openness of Zoe, and Zoe might want to be kind of as basically wants to be kind of as competent possibly as Jessica. Basically, maybe wants to fly a little under the radar, or at least maybe kind of flirt with getting respected, not for her looks. And the point is, she has a spare key to Jessica's house, which I find interesting. That makes me wonder if there's like an actual friendship there, or if it's just purely, she just uses Jessica to get work done, and just kind of like, just kind of bolster her own confidence. You gotta wonder if there's a friendship there. Then we have God. Now, then, of course, the benefit here is this is great. So now we have Taylor in these scenes, and now, folks, this is a big thing we've been kind of betting on the whole season here, is seeing are we going the ghost route with Taylor? Are we going like he survives as long as he's around her, otherwise he then turns into a ghost, or like if he's just unseen, or what the deal is? And now we see that he's unseen in these scenes and he's a ghost. And then I have my big revelation in this moment, Tiki, what exactly they were going for, because all throughout this my opinions kept changing, because we had like a kind of a Bruce Almighty, kind of like a Tom Shadyac,
like maybe like a Shallow Hal almost.
Well, again, more Bruce Almighty, but sure. Oh, I'm sorry, not Bruce Almighty. Well, we do have a Bruce Almighty reference here. That's why I'm thinking Bruce Almighty all of a sudden. But Liar, Liar. We kept going with the Liar, Liar example.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Liar, Liar was the big one, yeah.
They're all Tom Shadyac movies, so it's fine. Not Shallow Hal, but the other two. Anyway, so of course I shifted it to the 100 Good Deeds of Eddie McDowell.
Yes,
which again,
yes, and that was a good shift.
But Tiki, I finally found, like, with the ghost thing, I realized, and this is what's so trippy, and like how Christmas in July has gone and everything. It's all relative right here, Tiki. It's Ghost Whisperer. Are you familiar with Ghost Whisperer at all? It's okay. It's an obscure show. It's okay if you're not.
Vaguely.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Now, I've not watched an episode of the show, folks. I know, like, from trailers and clips and stuff. But
that's about all I know too. I know, like, because I watched Survivor on CBS, and it was on CBS, right?
Right.
So it was watching Survivor.
It was the CW. Well, maybe WB then. It was either the CW or CBS, one of those two.
Okay.
Anyway, basically Jennifer Love Hewitt, she was a character who could see ghosts when no one else could, and hence the Ghost Whisperer of it all. And I guess she would help them find peace so they can kind of ascend to the afterlife and stuff. I believe that was the premise. I'm not entirely sure, but that was the gist of what I saw. And now, of course, Jennifer Love Hewitt I bring because I had a realization I think maybe helped us all fall into place, I guess, where recently we had talked about the Jackie Chan Adventures Christmas special on the Christmas episode on Christmas in July, and which kind of led us to get nostalgic over the Tuxedo, because we both have a lot of nostalgia for the movie The Tuxedo, which co-stars Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I kind of made a realization, this might be harsh to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Bear in mind, I really have not seen anything. I haven't really seen anything with her aside from the Tuxedo, because I know she's in Law and Order, but I'm sure she's okay in Law and Order, because she's been there for a couple of seasons. But I kind of had a realization that after rewatching the Tuxedo, that Kelsey Probylski has like a vague passing similarity to Jennifer Love Hewitt. And again, with the Ghost Whisperer kind of dawning on me, oh my God, it's like if Jennifer Love Hewitt could act, it's Kelsey Probylski.
God.
I'm saying she really cannot act in that.
Try again. I don't know about like.
No, I'm not saying it's intentional. I'm just saying, to me, it just kind of amused me. I'm not saying it was like an intentional pull of like, oh my God, she's, we're going for we're remaking Ghost Whisperer. It just kind of dawned on me, just like it's because he looks. It's like Jennifer Love Hewitt.
That's a deep pull, Dragon. That's a deep pull.
I was like watching.
That's a lot of setup for not a lot of payoff.
I swear, after that Probylski live stream, I was watching the Tuxedo. I was like, oh my God, she looks very like Probylski, but Probylski could act circles around Jennifer Love Hewitt in the Tuxedo. She's terrible in the Tuxedo. My God.
All right.
Anyway, okay, take us through the rest of this.
Okay, let's see. So,
So why was Zoe going there?
Yeah, so Zoe's there, to apologize about her dad, and also to let her know to take as much time off as you need. Hal said that. Yeah, well, maybe not exactly those words, and then we cut back to
Very J.
Hal
Jonah
in the office.
Jameson-esque.
What?
Very J. Jonah Jameson-esque.
Oh yes, we cut back to Hal in the office playing golf, saying, "I want her back in 3 days. After that, her breathing comes out of my bonus."
Yes, her bereavement. Her bereavement.
Oh, sorry.
Now, I interpret that to mean that like her Christmas bonus will be reduced. That's what I thought. I don't know if that means like it comes out of his bonus or her bonus. I don't know if that.
I was a little confused by that line.
I think that.
But the whole "I want her back in 3 days" that was funny. This
is gonna sound presumptuous. I think that might be like a young Joshua Thomas kind of script note that needed to be redone. I don't know. I'm just gonna be a little presumptuous there and assume maybe that one was just like you need to like another pass might have fixed up like the like a typo on that page. Maybe I don't know. All right. Let's see. So yeah. Oh, and of course, I love this little gag here when he's golfing in his office and he makes the shot. You just have like this happy Hal Miller smile, like yay!
Oh my god. Yeah.
Cracks me up. All right, let's see. So then, okay, so back.
Zoe, she's kind of like laying out the steps of recovery. That she's like, oh, you've accepted that your dad's died. That's step 1. No, that's step 2. You dumb bimbo hot chick. Oh, she is so my type.
So, by the way, I got sidetracked all the Jennifer Love Hewitt stuff. Which, by the way, Damona B knows what I'm talking about. By the way, well, she knows what I'm talking about.
Well, okay, well, good. I'm glad someone knows what you're talking about, Dragon.
Anyway, okay. My point here, what I was getting at, really, with the Taylor side of things here, is that I love that we have this great device here, where kind of like a ghost that you can't see, essentially like Ghost Whisperer. You have a character in the scene. Who basically can say all these things and get away with saying all these things. And I'm sure this was a pip to shoot, Tiki. I'm sure like people are going to try not to crack up laughing during these scenes, or basically have a guy off to the side just saying all these funny things, and you can't break. You have to pretend like he's not even there. So I imagine this one was kind of difficult.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
And like initially Taylor he took this as oh, she's already acting like she doesn't see me, females, right? And of course,
not to mention this guy was known for improv.
Yes. And he's checking her out. I love these. He's checking her out during the scene. Just such a womanizer. just no shame that Taylor.
You know what though? I don't want to sound creepy or anything, Dragon, but I'm gonna reach out to all the Jessicas of the world. All right, if Zoe is Taylor's type, Jessica is totally my type.
All
right.
The Prabilski charm.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, honestly, it's not just Prabilski. Like, to tell you the truth, I feel like Prabilski herself, like, it's not like she's a bimbo or anything. Obviously not. She's a very talented actress. I'm just saying, like, I think personality-wise, she would get along better with Taylor than Jessica would.
Right,
like,
I think
you get that sense.
Yeah, I think you meant Zoe there. You said Prabilski again, but you mean the actress.
No. I'm saying Prabilski. I'm saying like if Prabilski, the actress, and Taylor were to interact, I think they'd get along better than Jessica and Taylor would.
I could see that.
Yeah.
No,
so it's really the Jessica character.
The fun fact is, folks, those two work together a lot outside of this project. That's what we learned.
Which, by the way, I totally want to make that into a potential season of the Just Giggle It grab bag, is just all the kind of like weird random stuff that Just Giggle It contributors have been in over the years.
Well, sure, that's very reliant on if we can find the stuff that they've done. We might have like an.
Well, there's one big bad movie that Prabilski's in that I've heard of. So.
Well, yeah, but I watched the trailer to that, by the way. So at least I got the. Basically, it's a weird science. It's next gen weird science. Essentially, it's kind of what it is.
Yep.
God. Anyway, it's a really horrible poster.
You know what? I'm sure Prabilski is lovely in it.
No, I'm just saying that poster, and they mocked the poster. Like, oh my god, they had like a really weird off kilter.
No, you're right, but like I said, I have no doubt that her performance in the movie itself is just fine.
Well, she looks good in the trailer. I mean, she looks like she has like a real creepy. It's like what if Weird Science was more of a horror movie? That's what it looks like. Anyway, so getting back on point here. Just trying to find where we left off here. Oh yes. So after Taylor's line about she's so my type. Jessica's saying, "Oh, why don't you just marry? Why don't you just make out then or something?" And of course, just Jessica's uh, again, Jessica's having all this dialogue too. To Taylor and saying she's not Zoe's not understanding this at all. She's completely misunderstanding. But I love the back and
Yeah,
forth
like
in
poor
all this.
Zoe is just like she's just like not like she feels like this poor girl is having a mental breakdown. And
I
she's
just,
sympathetic though. That's the thing. And I feel like this episode kind of cemented my Zoe love, Dragon. I feel like I was a little on the fence with Zoe for a couple episodes now, but I don't know. I definitely think this episode made her pretty sympathetic.
oh, we got an answer on one of our queries from earlier on from the great Joshua Thomas. I presume, or at the very least, just Giggle It, but Joshua Thomas, wrote and directed this, so by ipso facto, it has to be Joshua Thomas. Um, okay, bereavement is the pay you get when your family member dies in a corporate workplace. So he's saying the more days she takes off with pay, Hal has to pay for that. Oh, okay. Now I think we
Okay.
learned something. Yes, Demona B. Absolutely, we learned something. Thanks.
The more
I
you
concur.
know.
I concur. Da, 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 da. Okay, anyway. But I just want to highlight, because we're backtracking a little bit. I want to backtrack one little small moment that's really great Prabilski acting here. I love it's also it's Prabilski has this great soft line, and I love how kind of Taylor is kind of taking this in the scene, because Taylor as Johnny Walter as kind of as womanizing and as kind of dumb as he can be as his character. I do love that there's this moment where he's kind of wondering like what basically he learns that her father died. Jessica explains my dad died, and again after basically that line, the way she delivers it kind of condenses in a way. It kind of like takes a little sampling of all the emotions that you felt in episode 4. It's like, yeah, she went through all that just with that one little line delivery. I think she kind of like summarized that with like a little, just the delivery. That even affected Taylor on some level. I thought that kind of communicates like a little. It's like a little blink and you miss it, but it's kind of a haunting moment. It really stuck
Yeah, I
out.
hear you. I hear you.
Again, it like speaks volumes of what these characters could do in the future with each other. Just that these two kind of have like there's like a reason these two are paired together, and we've seen that reason. So there's a whole. I was like kind of see the connecting kind of physics strings of the universe in that little moment.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. Okay, anyway, getting back on point here. Okay, so after again the great back and forth, the whole like he was telling Taylor to shut up and everything during the scene is this poor Zoe's just caught in the middle of all this. And it's just like, oh man, you get shwasted or something? Yes, you got totally shwasted last night. Obviously, we banged. And of course, my favorite.
No banging.
No, I just love how staunch, and this thing is honestly might be my favorite Podolsky line in the whole like 7 episodes. It might be. I don't know. It just cracks me up. The whole just like the immediacy and how staunchly she wants to have like stated for the record. That's what cracks me up. No backing. Anyway, so then she's asking Zoe to clarify, like, so kind of spelling it out for the audience, but it's fine. Just clarifying. So you don't see that guy. And then the Zoe hilariously assumes, like, oh, it's your dad's.
How is heaven this time of year, Mr. Parker?
It just cracks me up. And then just seeing Taylor's response to it, like, wait, what? Yeah. All right, let's see. So then Taylor's like, okay, I'm fed up with this. And he tries to leave yet again. Again, Taylor's like it's like almost like the Pavlov, not the Pavlov's dog thing, but it's like it's like one of those lab experiments where you have like the thing that shocks you. It's kind of like the I was going to say Ghostbusters. That doesn't have any merit with this, and you know what I mean, like one of those tests where you do the thing to get the response, or you get shocked the crap out of when you do the wrong thing. One of those choices. And Taylor keeps getting shocked instead of going for the cheese or something. He's like, what is this, a panic room? Because he keeps trying to leave and it bounces him back. It's like just does not learn. Which makes sense for him. He wouldn't learn. He's just that's the whole point. He needs to learn. Let's see. So Zoe says she'll stop by work. Jessica says she'll stop by work later, pick up some stuff there. Then she'll see her. Then she'll check into the office. Then. So then we get the real reason. Most likely, the real reason Zoe had dropped by, which is.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find it in my notes.
All right, the caseload. Caseload. Basically, he's always kind of wondering.
Oh, yeah. Right. Sorry, Drake. This episode has like a lot coming at you. So it's yeah. So basically, I don't know, folks. That kind of rings to the ambiguity of Zoe and Jessica's relationship. But like I said earlier, Dragon, I think the one thing that rings true with me for Zoe is that she is genuinely concerned about Jessica here. It's not like just fake, like, oh, ooh, yeah, you're not doing good.
She has a line that really that I think proves your point there, Tiki. I think the following line she has kind of cements that, where of course the caseload thing was kind of like, I wonder if that was intentionally a Monsters Inc. pull. By the way, because again, I keep thinking that caseload thing sounded so remarkably like the premise of Monsters Inc., where Mike, Mike Wazowski wants to take Celia on a date, so he asks Sully to basically, grab drop the files off at Roz's, leave the puce, that whole thing. Which kind of makes me think that has to. I'm just saying, premise-wise, that sounds so much like Monsters Inc. I'd be delighted because, again, with the Just Guild, they're Disney and Pixar fans, so yeah, I wouldn't blame them. They're citing from the best. I mean, even Baby Driver cited from Monsters Inc. You can't blame it. It's a good film. So, let's see. So anyway, so then she reminds me, my dad died 2 days ago, and says, "Oh right, I'm a, I'm a bad person." Yep, bad form, Zoe, bad form. So, so Zoe leaves. She leaves. She's on her way, and that's her like admitting, "Yeah, I did something bad," which suggests that she does care. So I think you're right about that. Anyway, so she leaves, and then we had Natia. This thing blew me away because I didn't know if they were going here or not, and I was amazed by this. I was so delighted here when, because I thought it was going to be a budgetary thing where they weren't going to be able to do this, and when they did, it's like, where Zoe walks through Taylor. So basically, if we had any doubts about the ghost thing, if it was going to be a ghost, like some variation of the ghost, no, absolutely. If it's not just Ghost Whisperer, it's absolutely it's an astral form ghost thing where she walks right through Taylor. It's like a Christmas Carol thing, I guess. You walk through the person who's not supposed to be there. He walks through Taylor. I think it's a good phasing effect, by the way.
Sure.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, of course. Probably the best CG we've seen in Watching You, definitely.
Yeah. So then she, of course, the opening, it looks pretty good too. I mean, I suspect that's digitally created somehow. Let's see. Basically, she exclaims like, "Oh my god!" Because she saw it too, like us, the audience, like, "Oh my god!" Just, yes, you are. You are. Yeah, we're a bad person. So then, of course, this to me, this makes me hope that there is a friendship with Zoe here. On some level, she does care because she just hugsies. You grieve in whatever way you need to. I don't know, this makes me like Zoe a little bit more. All right, so then Zoe leaves, and we have the real conversation.
Yeah, so Taylor's shocked. He's just like, I'm a ghost. And he's just instantly questioning, like, why am I attached to you? I'm not. Are you an angel? No, I'm not an angel. Or are you a retarded angel who doesn't know he's an angel?
And he's piecing things together here, and he realizes,
I was hit by a car. I didn't hit you, not your stupid car.
Stupid. You're such a jerk face. And again, that love correction.
I love this back and forth that they have going on, Dragon. It's so. The chemistry there is really good.
I'm saying this back and forth makes me want more episodes of the show. Want to see more of this.
Kind of coming like he's kind of trying to rationalize this. He's like, okay, this is hell. And Jessica's just like, oh, you're crazy. And he's just like, well, did you not just see your slutty friend walk through me? I don't have to state the obvious.
Don't call her slutty. And of course, he looks at her like, come on, you know what to. Basically, in emotion, exclaiming this. He says, you don't have to state the obvious.
Right. Sorry, yeah.
So then he realizes, I'm condemned. I should have been nicer as Scientologist. And Tiki, what's the big line of the episode?
Goddamn Tom Cruise, you prophet! Folks, Mission Impossible Fallout is one of the best action movies of the decade. That movie is just like really sitting with me. No, I'm serious. I saw it like almost a week ago, and it's just like, yeah, it's just like it's marinating in my head, Dragon. It's so good.
I think honestly, I just want to see it for Cavill's mustache, and I just want to see.
Oh,
Well,
Cavill is just like, trust me, there's more to Cavill than just his mustache.
now, when I say mustache, I don't just mean Cavill having a mustache. That's kind of the shorthand I have for like the big awesome bathroom fight scene they have in like the trailers and everything. Like Cavill's mustache being like this awesome kind of anti Ethan Hunt, I guess. It's kind of this great kind of physical force for Tom Cruise to go up against. It looks so awesome. It's
Dragon. I will say it's probably my second favorite action movie of the decade after Mad Max Fury Road. If we're talking just straight action, like not superhero stuff, just straight action stuff. Anyway.
So,
yeah, getting a little sidetracked there. My apologies.
We have a lot of really great lines. That Tom Cruise line is one of the great ones this episode here. Let's see. Okay, so after the hilarious Tom Cruise line, and this is a nice little bit here, right here, which is Jessica tries to kind of alleviate some of the pressure here by saying, "Maybe I'm just crazy." But then again, I love this. Like the minute she does something nice here and just trying to absorb the blame, Taylor he goes overboard here. And yeah, we have some true menace. And as hilarious as basically. Taylor's been kind of a clown this whole season. Like, oh, look at the vaguely broy clown. Look at him, ha 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 ha. Look at him. And been laughing at his misfortune, of course. But again, we've only had like one really intense moment with Taylor before. When we had the flash, the fantastic, phenomenal moment of Johnny Walter acting with Taylor and his mother in that brief flashback in episode 6. We had that, but this is like a more negative, more vile and vengeful. He's so embittered and angry and quite scary. And of course, Jessica kind of going for the inhaler and everything here too. It's looking really stressful, really kind of scary. It's really imposing. And he really, truly scares Jessica here. You dorky, stupid, nerdy, crazy. And she's getting under the covers. And we're really in the direction here. I love that we're evoking again, the basically what the show is. He's dealing with these kind of complex adult emotions and kind of this being in the adult world, and it's not working out for him. And he's basically abusing that power. And with Jessica, she's the kid who hasn't grown up yet. She has this very childlike demeanor, and she's lost kind of her she's lost her father. She's in a very vulnerable place, and she's getting under the covers, like very childlike, and just basically, I really wish you would just leave.
And then he does.
Yes, he's basically, it's like Doctor Strange getting pushed from his body here. He just basically leaves, he's shoved through the room and disappears. I didn't mean disappear. I didn't mean disappear and freak me out. I meant through the door or something. Angel, demon, a-hole. So then we have our big final scene here. So Taylor's at a cemetery.
Yes. And we have the man at the door.
Yes, or the Doctor, or like the point is, Bill Gundry has many pseudonyms for this show.
The guy of many aliases.
By the way, if we ever want to, maybe I don't know how big a spoiler this would be for the future of watching you, but again, if we can get a name on this guy, that'd be greatly appreciated. Because right now, he's Dr. Gundry to me. Still, I got nothing.
I'm still going with his man at the door because that's what he is in the script and the credits. So.
Well, no. In the credits, he's man at the door. In the script, he's Doctor.
Oh, okay. Well. You know what? I'm going with man at the door.
All right, that's fair. All right, so Taylor's at a cemetery, and we pay off all our Gundry stuff here. He says, "You're the Mormon?" He says, "No, I'm not. Mormon.
I'm not a Mormon, you damn fool."
Yeah, that's great. Oh my God, Gundry! I've always been in tight. I don't know why. Gundry's always been selling me in this show, and just like the little doses that we had specifically in that whole getting Keith pancakes, which unfortunately Keith never got those pancakes. Still bums me out, by the way. Keith just wanted either pancakes the song or even the banana pancakes the song or banana pancakes the actual thing, and he didn't get either. And we had quite a great deal of humanity from him there, and now we have this really great. Now he's just really, we have to see Gundry with attitude here, where he's just kind of like, he's been real kind of polite and everything. Now he's just kind of slapping Taylor around character wise here, and I love that. So he's sort of delightfully pointed towards him. He says, "Did you sniff glue as a child?" So basically, just to summarize a few things here, says, "So I'm dead, right?"
Yep.
But why?
I was so young.
Everyone has to
I
go
haven't banged a chick on every continent yet.
Okay, before we get to now, I will say the line that follows that is the line of the episode. I mean, absolutely. I think the line after that is the line of the episode. Before we get there, real quick, I love that he also has a really great line here where he says, "Why not? Everyone has to go sometime," which is like the perfect response for what this character is when you think of it. It's like the perfect response to somebody asking why.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then we get the quite certain, for me at least, I think the best written, at the very least, the best conceived, the smartest line. This line feels like a Joshua Thomas line to me. It just feels so, it's so dark and pointed yet funny. Where we're in response to, it was so young and banged a chick from every continent. Yet we have Gundry saying,
"Oh, sure, let's take a few more of those children with cancer so you can dent Antarctica."
I think he meant get Antarctica, but yeah. Hey, that's the brass ring, bro. It's it's the, and basically he's trying to justify this after he said such a horrible reality here, and Taylor's still oblivious to it all here. He's saying, "Hey, compared to Antarctica, it's the brass ring, buddy." He says, "Shut up, Taylor." Is the way he says, "Shut up, Taylor."
Yeah, I love how he uses. I love it. Like that's almost like a stern parent coming into it right there.
And again, Taylor, from what we understand, is a character. Again, we haven't really learned anything about his father, so my guess is that either his father was betrayed or by the mother, or is dead for all we know, again, or walked out on him. I don't know. The point is, he's lacking that structure, and lacking that structure, we kind of need that in Gundry here.
Sure.
So again, that "shut up, Taylor." Yeah, honestly, I think it's just, I want to say, I'm reaching here. I might be reaching a little bit. I have faith in this. I have faith that I think Josh Thomas is smart enough to realize, how far can I push the Taylor character? And in this episode, we did that twice. One where he's getting really intense towards Jessica, and a second time right here where Taylor has like a really offensive moment here, where again, like toddlers dying of cancer, and he's trying to still justify his point after. That's where Gundry draws the line. They're like, "Shut up." So I mean, I don't know. I think that Joshua Thomas testing the waters with the character for the future. That's what a red is to me. Mm-hmm. All right, so then Taylor's asking semantical questions like, "How do you know my name? You're dead, and you want that's what's on your mind." So then he's asking, like, "Shouldn't I be in hell?" And then, of course, and this, I love this. Is my favorite thing in Gundry's performance right here. I love that Gundry he's less angry and he's more perplexed here. I just love how genuinely perplexed you can get a sense of
like, how well, yeah, Taylor, technically you should be, but in your last minutes alive, you saved a life, so that complicates things.
So without spoiling anything, this I think will be the better point of comparison here, Tiki. So like practicality wise, I cited Ghost Whisperer as like how the whole ghost effect works essentially.
Ooh, can I do another one?
Okay.
All dogs go to heaven.
Oh, that's good. That's really. I had one I think is more.
All dogs go to heaven is totally like the second chance after you go to heaven.
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, you kind of defeated my point here, but I think you're. Yeah, I'm
sorry.
I wish you would have saved that for like 2 seconds after this, but okay, that's. But no, that's an excellent pull though. I mean, yeah, the second chance angle of it, I think the second chance absolutely is all dogs go to heaven. Yes, but I think in terms of the ethical quandary here, the ethical quandary and the thing Gundry's playing here feels very. Without spoiling it, it feels very Good Place. If anyone's watching Good Place, which I highly recommend, by the way, Mike Schur, I love Mike Schur's work on television, by the way. Mike Schur is essentially all the great parts of The Office were Mike Schur. And he had also done Parks and Rec. He does Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's him too. So Mike Schur, he's an excellent showrunner on television. He's an excellent show creator. Anyway, so he did The Good Place, and The Good Place, without getting the semantics or big reveals of it towards the end of seasons, which again I'd recommend. It's only like 10 half-hour episodes, folks. You can check it out. It's on Netflix, I think. Anyway, 2 seasons of it. My point is that The Good Place is sorry, one second. The Good Place fundamentally is founded on this whole idea of like all the good you do in life versus all the bad you do, and like does that get you into the good place or the bad place? Get it?
Yeah, sure.
So that's basically what they kind of have these conversations that Gundry's kind of laying out right here, where Gundry says like, yes, you should be, but you saved the life. And self-sacrifice is really big up there. And like that line right there, it's so funny how like years later, again, folks, this is made like years in the past. Not the date that it's on JustGiggleIt. This is made like roughly I think 2012, I believe, maybe 13. I think 2012. At least was when it was not when it was released. The point is, like, again, this predates what we're doing in television years later, and it's a show that feels very much like this. Absolutely should be a show on television. It feels like it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
So Taylor has earned a second chance because he saved an innocent life. Therefore, he's not all bad, which I think summarizes the complexity, kind of the foot in the door for the character of Taylor. Yeah. So Taylor wants answers following this, and and this is basically a lot of this is foreshadowed for the future of watching you here, where he says all of the answers of your death and your purpose will come later. Then we have this guy cracked me up, and I felt vindicated with this guy because I kind of called the shady isms, like the Bruce Almighty and the liar of it all here with this line, where he says, "Wait a minute, what are you, Morgan?" Remember what he says exactly here, Tiki?
I think he says. I think he asks, "Are you God?"
I know what.
I don't know. I think that Gundry is the one who pulls Morgan Freeman into it.
No, I think what he says, Taylor blindly. I believe this because Taylor blindly says, "Are you God?" I always thought you look more like Morgan Freeman.
And then, yeah, okay, that's right.
And Gundry has the great line following.
Is, well, you think God would waste his time on you, let alone Morgan Freeman? No. I'm like a manager.
It's a perfect line, T. It's such a well-constructed line. I just love that whole let alone Morgan Freeman. As in Morgan Freeman in the heavenly world is cooler than God. I just love that they love more. That's the thing. It's like God would waste time. Let alone Morgan Freeman. Like that's ridiculous. Like God, God has has an open docket there. It's I don't know. Anyway, so Gundry explains essentially he's a manager. I wonder if there's going to be an illusion because again, honestly, this whole reveal, basically the semantics here, we did get some confirmation there was a religious element to all this with all this God conversation, which implies that I kept thinking Gundry might be a mad scientist or we were unsure exactly how this is going to go, but yeah, it was sort of ended up definitely going the heavenly route, which you called from the very beginning, technically. Well, you're not wrong about it because I don't know if it's God watching him or if it's Gundry watching him. So someone's watching, whoever specifically is watching them, I'm not sure.
Right.
But anyway, semantically,
maybe the point is everyone's watching someone.
That's probably a better point. Yeah. Anyway, I wonder if specifically, and I'm just making connecting some dots here. Gundry might specifically be Azrael, the Angel of Death, because it's my Angel of Death theory here. In some iterations, Azrael's the Angel of Death, so assuming that's the case, not the Phantasm Azrael.
Azrael!
That one. No, seriously, Azrael and Lucifer kind of flirted with this a little bit. Lucifer does this sort of stuff all the time, which is what I love about the show, and they do some Neil Gaiman-y kind of explorations of these deity characters where Azrael, if we're doing Azrael as an angel of death here, Gundry just as some form of the angel of death, it would make sense. Think about it. When he showed up, every time in the series that he showed up, Keith was on death's door and he was providing comfort to Jessica. And before, in a way, I'm going to connect that here. I think he was warning Taylor that you're going to die, essentially, without saying it. Like, isn't it about time you made a change? So I think part of him may be trying to save his life. That's my little headcanon. It might be completely off base. I don't know. So okay, so anyway, so then Taylor's posing the question here. Taylor's posing the question here. What is it? Why? He's asking, why am I stuck?
Why am I stuck with that crazy bitch? Well, you see, Taylor, that's why I brought you here. You two are going to have to stay stuck here. You are not a ghost, and you're not going to haunt her, but you need each other. You are going to help her change her life. You're her guardian.
Okay, real quick. We did have this great Johnny Walter delivery. This is priceless, and probably my second favorite delivery in the whole. I think my favorite Taylor delivery in the whole series, if I'm being frank. It might be. It's really great. You're basically saying, you're gonna stay with her. Gundry gets all defiant here. We're saying that's why, and that's why I brought you. You're gonna stay stuck to her, and basically this moment of pause goes by as Taylor thinks he has the answer as to why. He says, to haunt her. It's perfect. Just that delivers, and then he has to spell out for him. You're not a ghost. To haunt her. And he says it almost strikes like a Superman pose. Like, I'm going to haunt her. Ooh.
Oh, God, right.
Yeah.
For I am the Phantom. No, you're not that special, Taylor. Get your head out of the clouds.
God. So yes, and basically, he again the kind of the seeds that we get for the future here is that you both need each other, and you're going to help her change her life. From now on, you're her guardian. He gives that smile. Gundry gives that smile, and then we have like the to be continued. Bum bum bum. More episodes, please.
Yeah, Dragon. I don't really. Do we necessarily have to go over the bloopers? I don't have them.
No. We don't have to go over the bloopers, but we do have stuff to speculate on because Joshua Thomas. We know Kid Control is now. We can talk about that.
Okay, really quick, I like how at the very end of the credits we have that brief little adorable bit with Brendan Loy as Evan.
Yes, and we basically do the Office credits.
Right.
And check out the bloopers, folks. They're quite funny. But it's just us recapping like, oh, that line didn't go as expected. Whoa.
So yeah, Joshua Thomas has been giving us some bread nuggets, some breadcrumbs, if you will, of Watching You and where it potentially would have gone. The Probilski interview actually revealed a lot as well. But Dragon, do you want to get into the Kid Control?
I'll take the Kid Control. You take the Probilski stuff. All right.
Okay.
So we did. I won't say every. I mean, folks. I don't know. He said it was to all Watching You fans, and it is like publicly linked in a video. So I don't think I'm giving away too much. I'm just going to say what happens if you want to know all the ins and outs. Go seek it out. And again, it's the way it is, folks. So hopefully that's not a betrayal of any confidence on that one. So essentially, Tiki and I have been racking our brains this whole viewing experience of watching. Like, what the heck? I mean, this is all great here, but what the heck does Kid Control do? Like that. Basically, do they make posters? Is that all they do? And in reality, what it is it's Kid Control. We learn. I'm sorry, I was trying to get the semantics right here. 1 second. Oh yeah, okay. So here's what Kid Control actually does. So we learn, folks, that we might learn the future of watching. Again, this could always be subject to change, like a rewrite or something. But from what we've been hinted at is that Kid Control definitely has, like, Hal Miller isn't just running a company. He does believe in the Kid Control cause. Like he was brought up believing in Kid Control. Like we see, he has some deep rooted family issues, and that he basically, there was like this PSA ad that was filmed. And basically, we learn all this through like a VHS tape that is played. Where Hal Miller, he views himself as a heavenly gift, which again, given the religious context of this, I wonder if that has to be intentional now. Basically, we have these two ideas that are put forward in what Kid Control is. That it might be like kind of that he views himself as a heavenly gift, and that Hal's about change through abuse, through child abuse. You can basically through like disciplining your children, like beating your children.
It's kind of funny. Hal is like such a fun character, but at the same time, he's also one of the more, at the very least, one of the more malicious characters on the show.
I think basically, I'm sorry if I'm delaying the lead here, if I'm burying the lead here a little, folks, but essentially what's so fascinating is that I think what they're kind of putting out, I think what Josh Thomas might be putting out here is that it's change through compassion with Jessica and Taylor, basically change through conversation and compassion versus like force your children to change. Like again, like Taylor's going to try to kind of nurture Jessica into kind of adulthood in a way, where again, like kind of nature versus not nature versus nurture. It doesn't really like kind of usher in change versus like force it, like where we see Kid Control as it's a real creepy re-education facility. Essentially, that's the best way I can put it, and it's psychotic. And folks, unfortunately, there was a period in time. I don't know if I hope this is still not the case, but the re-education facilities technically did exist. I don't mean like in like all of history. I mean like for kids specifically. And that's those are horrifying notions, and those things did exist. So it's kind of based on vaguely based on a real idea.
Oh, I have stories of like mental institutions and like orphanages, Dragon, because you know me, I have a morbid streak to me. I get that kind of stuff kind of fascinates me.
I know,
so
but
I could tell you sometime, and I'm sure you would not want to hear about it.
Sure, but I mean, like there's like a thing where basically the idea is, and basically the idea Kid Control might play with in the future is like if you were to misbehave, like parents, essentially lazy parents would instead of like either disciplining you themselves or talking you basically talking to you or doing something other, and basically disciplining you in some way, shape, or form. They would hand you off. It's basically like they'd send you to a camp to re-educate you. Almost, they would send you to a facility, like almost like a high school, pretty much, where they would basically you would be taught to behave and almost essentially brainwashed or demoralized into Again, those are some of the horror stories I heard of, and specifically, all we know is that kids are sent to kid control and they are disciplined. And what I read between the lines, I got a sense of like these kids are being being brainwashed or kind of like traumatized in this place. That's the gist of it I got.
Oh,
So, and also, Tiki, you tell them about the awesome thing that we had teased, hence the case files. Like the case files in question about Zoe most likely are cases of children who are like from the intake process. I believe that those are what the case files were specifically. So that's my read on what Kid Control is based on, like the script pages that we.
And I don't remember like specifics about the Prabilski interview, Dragon. I got to be honest here. But what I do remember is the tone that Joshua Thomas promised. He promised just kind of like this crazy, like off the walls, like basically like episode 1. When you watch episode 1 of this show, and then you get done with episode 7, you're just going to be like, oh my God, like, wow, that show turned into something. So really, at the end of the day, Dragon, this whole setup with Taylor kind of ghosting Jessica, it was just the start of this crazy high concept series that was going to incorporate a lot of different supernatural elements, a lot of different kind of high concept elements into it. This was a very ambitious project that unfortunately we just got to see like sort of the initial kind of seeds of it.
Yeah, I remember one idea specifically, Tiki. The one really stuck out to me is that we have this body possession story. Basically, Taylor, in his astral ghost-like form, he could actually. There's going to be a story that Joshua Thomas teased where Jessica's in a meeting at Kid Control, and Taylor's behind her saying, "Hey, don't take that abuse, man. Don't be talked down to." And basically, he accidentally phases into her, and we see from her perspective, like Taylor's in her body, and then he's saying basically it's Jessica acting like Taylor. He's like chewing out Hal and everybody, and it sounds awesome. And I want to see that show. Also, Jeff Thomas teased that I kind of called something, Tiki, that Hitchcock cameo. It wasn't just a Hitchcock cameo; it was a story point that was seeded in there. Like later on, Joshua Thomas's character will be a storyline if they should watching you ever be continued. In general, what we would like to see, thematically, I just like the idea of Jessica, fixing Taylor, or and vice versa. I like. I mean, of course, Taylor's the two of them are going to be kind of fixing each other, and by that logic, what scene I like to see. Because now we know Taylor can't physically exist. Like, no one's going to be able to see Taylor. But what I would like to see explored for an episode, perhaps, down the line, is I'd love it if Jessica visited Taylor's mom to offer condolences, forcing Taylor to confront and possibly forgive his mother.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, like, he would have no choice. He'd have to go with her. And one last thing that dawned on me. Taylor basically when now this was Gundry forcing him to come to the cemetery, but I wonder because Josh Hunt teased that Taylor would be punished in certain ways. I wonder if maybe Jessica could force kind of will Taylor away in places, and I wonder if the cemetery could be his timeout. Imagine how creepy it would be if whenever Taylor gets a timeout like that, it would be either at his own grave or Jessica's father's grave. Imagine how creepy.
Oh man,
specifically his grave,
Yeah. Okay, I guess the only thing left to do is kind of give our final thoughts on the series, right?
Yeah, you start us off.
Okay, yeah. So, folks, this has been quite a journey with watching you. It really has. I knew we were in for something special with that really high concept first episode that really kind of gave the mission statement of, the two characters being attached to each other. And I think the web series kind of flows super well into each other because we get kind of like these dramatic high points with Jessica. Episode 4 is clearly, I think you and I can both agree, it's clearly the best episode of the series. Episode 4, I think, right? The big death.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, 4, 6, and 7 are easily the strongest episodes, but they're all different, though. That's the.
I know. I gotta say, I like as good as 6 and 7 are. They're both really good.
I'm gonna say this.
I think 4 is kind of like the big money shot.
I think here I'm gonna go as far as to say this, Tiki. Okay, episode 4 is probably like the best. Again, bear in mind it's all part of the same episode in the grand scheme.
Of course.
Episode 4, I think, is probably the high point of at least it's kind of it is ipso facto the best. Episode 6 is the best put together, and episode 7 is the best kind of summation of what the show is. So I think technically that means 7's the best, but 4 is like the best acted. Like again, 4 is the best acting, 7 is kind of the best summation of the series, and episode 6 is kind of it's the best put together.
Yeah, just overall, I absolutely think the two leads killed it. I even think some of the side characters were really interesting, and I want to see more of them. Like, I even want to see more of Evan Dragon. He seems like a nice lad. I think him and Jessica would make a cute couple.
I would like, I'd like her to get together with that nice Evan boy,
And just overall, it's really exciting to see this community embracing Just Giggle It and watching you like it has. Because Just Giggle It for a long time was just kind of like, hey, it's the Harley Quinn and the Joker channel. And I gotta say, Dragon, I really give ourselves some pride in terms of like, we were a big reason why this whole, new interest in watching you happened. And, I'm not saying we're the primary focus or anything, but, I can't imagine I think these podcasts definitely helped raise the exposure level of them a little bit. And so for that reason, I'm just, I'm kind of tickled by the community we got going on, folks. And, sort of as we round out season 2 of the Just Giggle It grab bag and dovetail right into season 3, I'm freaking honored that we have like, a small but devoted following of people who are watching us. It's just like, Dragon, that's honestly more than I could ask for. Like, I'm a modest person, and that is more than I could ask for in my modesty. All right.
Real quick, before my final thoughts, we have a big development here. I gotta shout out real quick.
Okay.
Major development.
Oh man.
I don't know if Joshua Thomas is being facetious, just being kind of quite funny with this. I mean, again, it could be a joke. I don't know. And again, of course, we don't know exactly all the ins and outs of the future of watching you. We'll see. But Joshua Thomas seems to have teased something major for us. Again, it might be a joke. Bear that in mind.
I'm seeing it in the chat, Dragon. Yeah, it's.
Let me announce for the folks watching. If Joshua Thomas most likely saying, "If I can blow your minds, Taylor ends up being Jessica's childhood imaginary friend, Mr. Biddles, who was set up in episode 4, by the way." Don't ask how. But that's where the show gets to.
Oh, man. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's the sort of, like, high concept bonkers insanity that we need to get with a revival of this show.
It's like the stuff that the Tick was kind of flirting with, but this show is actually doing, which is astonishing. It's like, oh, my God. So let me say this. So, again, with the future of watching, one other thing I want to get in there is towards the tail end here. I feel, we've seen a resurgence in watching you again with the Prabilski, with the live stream, and again, kind of the attention we've been getting here a little bit. Again, not toot our own horn or anything. The best acting class video with Xerxes. So again, there is like watching you is having somewhat of a resurgence, which is nice. I do wonder if I guess my final thoughts, to lump it into my final thoughts here. So again, the episode specifically, it's a very strong ending that I think keeps you on the hook, and definitely keeps you. It takes like the long and interesting road that we've gotten with these characters, and they're intertwined and kind of intermittent in each other's lives, and we get to see like kind of what brought them to that place. These two characters on the worst days of their lives, and I think it just all came together so wonderfully with this last episode, or at least with the big ending to the pilot. The reveal, the reveal was a little more religious than I expected. That's not a bad thing. I was just saying, again, it came together kind of in a surprising way. So, again, I still had like some great amount of surprise, and like I was on the edge of my seat. This one, honestly, episode 7 out of all of them had me on episode 4 and 7 had me on the edge of my seat most during. Again, 4, it picks up at a certain point. Just 4 to the end really is where things really just pick up. You're getting a vibe of in the initial 3 episodes, and then 4 onwards where things really get cooking, I guess. And I guess in regards to the future of watching is what I'm getting at here is that I would love to see Josh Thomas revisit this as a filmmaker specifically, because he is the filmmaker he is now is just after all the stuff that he's done with Just Giggle. Again, this is way back when he was a young buck filmmaker. This is like back during practically his second major project ever, essentially. And his first kind of stab at kind of doing a comedy series. And again, this I've heard him, in his own. I believe it was on the live stream. I believe he said, that even he has defined he made some mistakes and some stereotypes along the way, specifically in future drafts of it. I believe some. Oh my God, it's not a joke, by the way. The imaginary for Mr. Bills thing, it's not a joke. Oh my God. I'm sorry, it's just very enticing. But what I'm getting at is, I believe Joshua Thomas, by his own admission, so like there were other episodes that were written, like episodes two, maybe two, three, and maybe beyond. I'm not entirely sure. I know at least a couple episodes had been written out for watching you, and with those episodes, I heard that some stuff may not have been flattering, it's a little stereotypical. Again, my point is, I'm not trying to cast any shade. By no means am I trying to cast. What I'm saying is
I mean,
that
look, like Dragon, you even experienced this. Like you brought up the tuxedo earlier today.
yeah.
And that's a perfect example of like, you know, like mid to late 2000s humor.
Yes, and
different time. It was a different time, folks.
And that's exactly my point. So what I'm getting at here with in bringing that up is that I love that, you know, just knowing, even look when we talked about a raceway had faults in it. That, again, just seeing kind of the young filmmaker Joshua Thomas was, and seeing how the amazing filmmaker that he is now with all the shorts that he's written, directed, and edited so many times on Just Giggle. Like, he hasn't done all of them, but he's done a number of them, and also has a consummate performer and everything. It just makes me fascinated. I would love to see him like reevaluate that. And again, I would imagine he would make alterations, make changes, maybe plus some stuff up. Again, I don't know if he would or if he needs to, but again, for some stuff, I imagine he would. With him watching, so my point is, like, watching you definitely should be like revisited in the future with that in mind. That, you know, he's so much more talented, and we have all these people. I mean, we definitely have Ponce. We could work Ponce in more. I'm sure to get a lot of delightful things there. Again, might have to deal with some recasting, but as we've seen in the past, Just Giggle It, you know, they've done wonders at recasting. They've recast some wonderful people in roles that still embodied the characters despite it being a different face, and it's you know, it's been perfect for them. So you know, this concept, and here's the last thing, just to sum it all up. There's this concept. It could go very conventional very easily, and that's what I think really reflects in that whole, like, it feels like it could be a pilot of its time, where yeah, it's kind of something that we've seen before. But again, there were all sorts of inklings all throughout watching it. No, there's something special here, something different than what we usually see.
I mean, I think Xerxes, like, we haven't really hit on him yet, but he's a great example of just like, you know, kind of like an off the wall character that like would only fit into the Joshua Thomas sensibilities before we knew what a Joshua Thomas project even looked like.
Exactly, and I have all the faith in the world that, you know, that Just Thomas would not fall again with all the every time the biggest thing of praise that we keep giving all the Just Giggle these on the grab bag, especially, we keep saying that these guys, they subvert the expectations so well. You know, they kind of take it, they dial things to 11, either in the ridiculous and the absurd, or in kind of like the in kind of like a dark comedy, dark comedic aspect. Like, there'll always be that level, like, you know, how far are they going to take him? They dial it to 11 when you're not expecting them to, and it's when you imagine they're going for the conventional joke. You just imagine, okay, here's a comedy sketch. I'm just going to watch this, and it's just going to be a thing I've seen mocked 100 other places. But no, it lulls you into that false sense of security and blows your mind. And that's the magic. And the magic I'd love to see kind of be explored on in this series if it were to go on. But just what we have, though, I think we have like a really solid pilot that even now is pulling us back from years later. Again, a little bumpy, and I guess kind of the Taylor, like, again, episode 2 specifically is what I'm talking about. I guess in like Act 1 / maybe, no, it has to be the beginning of Act 1, I guess. I mean, you know, you grow that as basically, even with that, it's still superior to a lot of pilots that we have going on today. I mean, you know, it's really inventive. It speaks to good filmmaking. It fills me with confidence. And these guys, like, one of those shows you watch, it's like, oh man, why is this online? It should be on TV. Of course, now we're in a decade where, you know, TV is becoming online. Oh, by the way, sorry, we have another development here by Josh Thomas. If I can find the tapes, we auditioned 8-year-old Jessica's. They auditioned with a scene from episode 6 where Taylor goes back in time. I believe. I don't think he's mean. Again, bear in mind, I think he's referring to in the pilot context, folks, and he has like up to episode 6 planned out, and I think he means that episode 6. I think that's what he means. Yeah, of course. So they had originally intended to make them all. So yes, they're at least intended to make roughly, you know, 6 episodes or so.
So yeah, like we said, folks, he's not kidding here. Like, 8-year-old Jessica was definitely going to be a thing.
And Demona B here, you know, an imaginary friend can be someone. She speculates that the imaginary friend could be someone who died, someone who's not even born yet, or an angel, or, you know, whatever else exists as far as she knows. Which basically means that, you know, Taylor could fit into the imaginary friend context and just be the inkling of the idea, perhaps. I gotta tell you, that's an ambitious idea. That again, honestly, him telling me this right now, I do legitimately question, but I have faith that he'd do something cool with that. I gotta tell you, so that's the thing. That idea being pitched to me sounds a little crazy, but crazy enough in an interesting way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Tiki, we should probably get ready to jump on to the next grab bag, correct?
Yes. Do you want to hype that up, folks? Because of course, Christmas in July might be over, but we have one more day left in July if you're not on the East Coast. We have a couple hours left in July if you're on the West Coast. So technically we're doing it, Dragon.
But the point is, folks, regardless, it's like kind of our big transitioning piece between like Christmas in July to the beginning of August. It's still it's a bridge, folks. It's kind of like a time bridge we're going for here with our next installment.
Transition from the Grab Bag Season 2 to Season 3 as well.
Exactly. So it's kind of wearing many hats. Of course, we're going to shout out, who inspired that one, all the wonders that they're going to befall us there. So again, folks, go back and watching you while you're at it. You watch Harley Quinn the Joker, episode 5. Get those views up to 1 million, so we have more installments of an excellent show. There's so many good episode premises that have been not just pitched, like legitimately, like script pages have been shown for it. They get me so psyched for that show. I want to see it. You want to see it. I think we all collectively want to see it, because I can't tell you how many people I hear saying, "When's the next episode coming out?" I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, sister. But look, we got to get those numbers up, darn it. So, folks, look, we can keep going on this. I believe as much as I love doing after show, we probably could. We're going to jump on to the next one here, folks. So I guess it sounds about right? We should jump on.
Yeah.
So, folks, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you here. Hopefully, you'll join us on the next reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag.
Tom Cruise was right. Hail Tom Cruise, the prophet.
No banging.